What happens if your home catches fire and burns down? Well, if you are a homeowner, not only is this a devastating loss, but now you are on the hook for a mortgage on a home that has now been destroyed. And see, the home buying process can be stressful, and it is important to make sure you and your family are protected in the event tragedy strikes. Most home buyers I work with, they focus on interest rate and monthly payment, and the purpose of this video is to share what is covered and not covered by your homeowner's insurance policy. And make sure to stick around until the end, where my go-to guy for insurance, Jeremy Rowe, reveals the 9 items not covered by your insurance policy, and you won't want to miss this. Full disclosure, guys, I am a licensed loan originator, and I assist potential homeowners navigate the buying process. I do not know everything, and I lean on hand-picked professionals like Jeremy to help educate you on financial related issues. Most homeowners pay their insurance bill as part of their monthly mortgage payment, and it would be a good idea after this video to grab your policy and see what types of coverage you have. And I provided a link below for Jeremy in the description and suggest you reach out to him to make sure that you are protected properly and getting the best insurance rate. And there is a video right there that shows you how to get the best rate and coverage available. Welcome to Ask the Lender. If you or someone you know are looking to buy a home, you're in the right place. The purpose of this channel is to educate you on the home buying process, keep you up to date on the ever-changing housing market and the interest rates, as well as tips on how to pay less money in taxes, steps to getting the lowest mortgage rate available, plus proven strategies to save and grow money. And before we get started, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button, hit that bell right there to get notified when more informative content is published. And you can help this channel out as well by liking the video and sharing a comment, because if you tell me what you want to know more about, it makes it easier on me to create good content that you like. Jeremy, thank you for taking time to educate my audience on homeowners insurance. And guys, when we get started, I'm going to let you know Jeremy is an amazing insurance professional who helps my clients find great insurance at a fair price. Jeremy is an insurance broker, which means he is able to represent multiple insurance carriers. So he can shop with these various brand name companies to make sure you're getting the best deal. Jeremy, what is covered and not covered by a home insurance policy?
That's a great question. There's a couple of different ways to kind of know the answer to that. For the most homeowners insurance policies that are written, they're what's called HO3 policies. So there's a HO1, an HO2, and an HO3 policy. An HO1 is called a basic, a HO2 is called a broad policy, and those list specifically what an insurance company will cover. But the HO3 policy is what's called a special form, and they cover anything that can happen to the home with certain exclusions. So they don't say what's covered, they say what's not covered. And there's 9 basic exclusions that can come with the HO3 policy. There's 3 of them that are kind of out of your control. Things like a nuclear disaster, war, or what's called government action. If a government official needs to break down your door, the insurance company is not going to pay for replacing that. There are 2 type of naturally occurring events that aren't really covered under the homeowner's policy, but they can be added on with special coverage or special endorsement. Things like flood. Flood insurance is normally a second type of policy that you have to add on to a home. And then earthquake coverage or earth movement are both items that have to either be endorsed on a homeowner's policy or you have to get specific coverage for. The remaining ones are ones that with good homeowners maintenance, you should be able to avoid. There are things like termites and pest infestations that can happen in a home that if you're maintaining your home and you're looking and being aware of those, you should be able to prevent that. Mold, as long as you are keeping spaces that from getting too warm or preventing moisture from getting into areas like a crawl space, you're able to prevent mold. But mold is a naturally occurring thing. Given the right conditions, it can form. It's typically an exclusion on most homeowners' policies. Outside of that, there's general poor maintenance or wear and tear that can happen to a home just given time and age. And then, of course, there's intentional acts. If you purposefully burn down your home to get the insurance money, that's not something that the insurance companies are going to cover.
Very good. So guys, I hope you were paying attention, because what it sounds like, Jeremy, is if you are taking proper care of your home, that your roof is not leaking, and you have a new roof, checking out things like your HVAC unit, because condensation can form at different times and cause water damage. And when that happens, mold can also form, as a result of those things. And just don't do anything illegal. Don't be running a drug operation like Breaking Bad out of your house and have the government kicking in your doors. And yeah, those kinds of things aren't covered. So, if you're watching this, no meth labs. I'm sorry if that disappoints some of you, but we can't be doing that. Hey, Jeremy, when it comes to, things, proper maintenance and taking care of your policy, is it a good practice to notify your insurance agent, that you are doing these things? Does it have any impact on your insurance premium? What are some tips, that someone watching this could take to help lower that insurance premium and making sure that they're covered, properly?
Sure. So there's certain things you can do that can help bring down your the price of your insurance as far as doing maintenance for your home. There's some things that I've discussed with people, like keeping an eye on the age of your roof or seeing if there's any potential issues, and being proactive and kind of heading those off if you see anything. There's certain things that you can do as far as if you have smoke detectors or fire alarms in your system. Some people will even do the central link that connects right to the fire department or the police station. Most insurance companies will actually give you a discount if you connect your smoke detectors or your alarm systems directly with the local authorities. In case there is a fire, they have a better chance of responding quicker to get to the scene of that when it's directly connected with them. Insurance companies too will also allow, if you put a water sensor in a buried basement or in a crawl space, that you can have that will detect any water leaks or preventions in advance. That can also give you a discount in your home as well. So there's certain small maintenance things that you can do that help prevent bigger claims for the insurance company and also lowers your premium.
Great, because what you were just describing is if you put these measures in place, these things that aren't covered, you can help mitigate some of these, potential losses. So, in just recap, can you name those 9 things? Because I remember nuclear and acts of war and doing things illegal, no Breaking Bad, meth labs. Can you
Yeah.
just run through those 9 things really fast, just to recap?
Sure. So for most insurance companies, 9 general exclusions that would come with that HO3 policy would be war, nuclear disaster, government actions, intentional acts, poor maintenance, mold, termite or pest infestation, flood, and earthquake or earth movement.
Okay. And outside of those 9 things, as long as you have, for example, I think you have to have, is it called sewer backup? Is that an add on to your policy?
So then there's a couple of different endorsements that you can add onto a policy to cover things that aren't necessarily standard for all homeowners policies. There's also some exclusions that insurance companies can have. For instance, when it comes to owning dogs, some insurance companies don't insure all breeds of dogs. If there's an aggressive breed of dog, they can actually decline liability coverage for certain breeds of dogs. But then there's some different endorsements that you can add onto a policy to add additional coverage for things like you were mentioning water backup. So things like sudden and accidental water would be a pipe burst or the roof leaks on your home. Water's covered typically up to 100% of the dwelling coverage A for those homes. But things like water backup, if you have a septic system or if you have a sub pump in your basement, if water backs into the home, that normally has to be something that is endorsed on the policy. And that could be it coming through the piping or through the septic system, through the sink. And you can start with as little as $5,000 worth of coverage. You can go all the way up to 100% of your dwelling replacement coverage with water backup. Another one that I see commonly is something called sewer line endorsement or service line endorsement. For homes that are on public water and sewer, everywhere where it connects from the street to the main home, those buried utility lines, even though they are normally government utilities, those buried utility lines underneath your front yard, those are your responsibility. They're not covered by the city or county government. So normally you have to endorse that on the policy if one of those were to fail to get it replaced. I normally look to add that coverage sometimes at the time that the home is built. But if the pipes have been in the ground, if the home is 40, 50, 60 years old, those pipes have been underground for that long. In some areas that have higher salt content, like near the coast, those can corrode even faster. So making sure you have service line coverage is a good one to have on there. And then there's also things like replacement cost of the home and replacement cost of your personal property, which doesn't factor in the depreciation value of those items when it comes to the insurance company's replacement of those things if something does happen.
So as Jeremy was saying, your home is covered, but also your personal property. If you have, like me, I have camera equipment, or you have motorcycles, you have, expensive jewelry. Make sure that, do you have to name those, specific items on the insurance? Do you have to list your most expensive items on the policy, or is there a blanket coverage up to a certain amount? How does that work?
Yeah, so there's different ways that you can handle adding on specialty items onto your policy. There's two ways that you had mentioned, and then there's a third. So you can do what's called scheduling or listing specific items that you want to have insured under your homeowner's policy. And that would be for specific cameras or specific pieces of jewelry that you want to have listed on your homeowner's policy with a certain dollar value. Because normally things like jewelry, cameras, and equipment like that, they can have special limits that the insurance company will replace up to, but after that limit is reached, they're not going to give you any more for it. You can also what's do blanket coverage, which Rod had mentioned as well, and that says that you don't want to give specific dollar amounts, but if you estimate that all of your camera equipment is, say, $20,000, you can do a blanket coverage to cover all of your equipment up to that limit. The other option that you can do is what's called a personal articles policy or special collections policy. These are typically different policies from your homeowner's policy. I see it very common with things like engagement rings, which leave the home more frequently than any other piece of jewelry. Now, if something were to happen to that engagement ring, like you lose the diamond or the ring falls off and you lose the ring altogether, if you have a personal articles policy outside of your homeowner's policy, you file a claim specifically with that personal articles carrier for the replacement of that ring, as opposed to filing a claim with your homeowner's insurance. So scheduling or doing blanket coverage on your personal items is really good if you want to insure for a big loss within the home. If there is a fire and your equipment gets burned up, or you lost your jewelry due to theft or robbery, you want to be able to file a claim to recapture the value of those items. But when it comes to a specific item that might leave the home more frequently, you might want to look to do a personal articles policy or special collections policy to ensure that's separate from your homeowner's policy.
Hey, Jeremy, thank you so much for sharing this helpful information. Guys, I put Jeremy's contact information in the description below, so make sure to reach out to him. Guys, thanks for sticking around. I hope that you find this information helpful to you, because I work to make sure that you get the information to help protect you and your family. And if you haven't already, do us a favor and smash that subscribe button. Click that bell right there to get notified. And if you are looking for tips to finding the best insurance rate and coverage available, make sure to check out that next video below. And we'll see you next time on Ask the Lender.